Hi there! I just wanted to make a quick little tidbit video for y'all, because on my Asus video reviewing this guy, which I just use as a bedside laptop now, because this thing is honestly, after using it more, it's not really all that great for day-to-day tasks, unless you reboot it a lot. That 4 gigs of RAM gets filled up real fast. This, on the other hand, is fantastic. This cost the same amount as that Asus, but it was used on eBay, and admittedly did not come with a power supply. I had to provide this myself, but if you look in the right places, you can find these for real cheap. This is just a 65-watt Dell power brick, and these are used by just a super wide array of laptops. Dell is actually really good with standardization for their laptops. Power bricks. I'm going to show you something that I don't really show all that often, which is my stack of laptops. This is most of the laptops that I own. And in this stack, we do have a couple of Dells. Actually, no, I think there's only one here. I do have more, they're just not right here. I have this one, which is an old Inspiron from 2004. Same plug. And HP actually has a few laptops that use the same physical plug and the same voltages, but have different outputs that make it so that it won't work. But I do have in this closet a Dell Latitude E6430, which is a lot older than this here, that uses the same plug. Now you do have to be a little careful because there are laptops that don't use this plug from Dell that uses a slightly different plug, which is this one. It's just basically the same thing but smaller that you'll find on these Precision laptops and some newer Inspirons, but I'm pretty sure that all Dell Latitudes that are old enough to still use a barrel jack use the larger one, so as long as it's for a Latitude, you'll probably be fine. And these go from like 45 or 65 watts all the way up to like 200, maybe even 300. They are a very wide range, and the higher wattage ones will work on laptops like this, but obviously the lower wattage ones won't work on like a massive Precision workstation. Yeah. But yeah, the 65-watt one will work just fine in this laptop. So, I'm not sure if I actually touched on this yet. What is this? This is a Dell Latitude 7400, as you can see there. And it features such wonderful things as a 1080p screen, a backlit keyboard, a fingerprint reader, and while mine is not equipped with it, some of them have Windows Hello facial recognition IR cameras. Now, of course, if you've seen my last video, you know, this isn't going to be running Windows, so that doesn't really matter. As a matter of fact, what I'm doing, the fingerprint reader and the power button doesn't even work, because I'm running Manjaro. And this is going to take a little while to boot. So I said it's got an 8th gen i5. Well, what specific i5, what kind of expansion options do we have? Well, first of all, let me log in. And we'll pop into a terminal window real quick so I can show you the specs. We'll just run NeoFetch. And you can see that we've got ourselves a Core i5-8365U. So this isn't just regular 8th gen, this is like 8.5, I guess I would call it. It's Whiskey Lake. I don't know how much of an improvement that has over Kaby Lake R, but I know it's different. This has 16 gigs of RAM, although I will admit I did upgrade it. When I got it, it only had 8, but that is still twice what that Asus has. And I will tell you right now, this machine is so much faster and more responsive than the Asus. I very much enjoy using this machine for tasks that I carry it around the house. I've done light gaming on it. It's fantastic. Now, I'm not planning on doing a full-form video on this next machine I'm going to show you, but if you have a little more money and you need to do a little more, for $200, you can get one of these. Now, I have an MSI sticker on mine. This is not an MSI laptop. This is a Dell Precision 5510. I showed you this earlier. And this does use the other connector, and it needs a higher wattage power supply. But that's because this actually has I think it's an H series CPU in it. This thing is lovely for gaming purposes, I guess. You'd be better off getting an XPS because that doesn't have a Quadro. It has a GTX, but this has a Quadro M1000M. So yeah, if you have a little more money and you want to do a little more, these old slimline Precisions are fantastic. But this is about the Latitude 7400. Which, as I've showed you, has higher specifications. It's a fantastic build quality. This thing is made of carbon fiber, pretty much through and through as far as I can tell. The lid has the classic woven carbon fiber look. As far as I can tell, the palm rest is also made of some form of carbon fiber, or carbon something. It's got the same rigidity as the lid. It just doesn't have the woven design, whether it actually is woven underneath and is just painted, or if it's some other, like, more like the forged whatever you see on some other stuff. I'm not sure. But the whole appeal of this isn't entirely in the software side of things. They're actually what you can do with it. I mean, it is in what you can do with it, but it's also in what you can make it do. So let's pop the bottom cover off and have a look at what's under there. And 8 captive screws later, the bottom cover can be removed. And yes, it's held on with just 8 screws that are captive. They're held in place. So, what have we got? Well, we've got 2 DDR4 SODIMM slots, our very easily accessible CPU heatsink. I could probably remove this and repaste the CPU without removing the fan, although I have not done that yet, and I probably should. We've got an easily accessible modular Wi-Fi card, which I do believe the Asus also had, but I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember that off the top of my head, and I don't even remember if I took the lid off in the video. But we also have our NVMe slot here, which it would appear actually has an integrated heatsink, which is lovely. Easily accessible CMOS battery, and we even have another open M.2 slot for a LTE card. So, you know, you could get... Yeah, I haven't actually covered the connectivity on this yet, which I will in just a moment after I get the bottom cover screwed back on. But yeah, there is a lot of expandability here. Unfortunately, no removable battery. You'd have to go back to a much older Latitude to be able to get that. But that's kind of par for the course nowadays. And I haven't played any audio, and I probably won't. But these speakers are a lot nicer than the ones in the Asus. So, are you noticing a trend here? This is a much better deal than the Asus. At the same price, you're getting a lot more. And to continue to prove my point, let's get this bottom cover screwed back on, and let's look at the ports. Alright, let's put it back together. So what do we have for ports and other little doodads? So first of all, on the front, this isn't a port, but we have a battery status light. When the majority of the time that you're running this computer, this will not be on. This will only be on if your battery is almost dead, or if the computer is plugged in and charging. If the battery is almost dead, it will be lit up orange, and if the computer is plugged in and charging, then it will be white. On this side, we have a combination headphone microphone jack, a micro SD card slot, a USB 3.0 port, and, if I can actually get it out, this might be a dummy slot, but this would appear to be a SIM card tray. Hold on. Okay, yes, my previous belief is true. This is a dummy slot because, of course, as you saw when I had this open, this is not equipped with a wireless WAN card. Now, most machines I see that have an option for wireless WAN that don't have it equipped usually still have a functional SIM card tray, as I will demonstrate in just a moment. This is actually a laptop that I obtained from a close friend of mine for literally no cost. I helped him get a new computer, and this was his old one, and he gave it to me. Obviously, I put the stickers on. I'm the furry, not him. But you can see that this does have a SIM card slot here with an easily removable tray. If you have the ejecting pin, which I do in my iFixit Protect toolkit. But of course I didn't think to have it on hand because I'm an idiot. Maybe it's not easily removable? Excuse me? Hold on. See, these things probably came with a SIM pin that's longer, if I had to guess, or maybe this is broken, but give me a moment. Well, shit. You know what? I'm leaving this in. I've proven myself wrong yet again. This would appear to also be a dummy tray. Unless you put the... Hold on, I don't know what a SIM card looks like. I need a minute. Alright, look. I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. This is not a dummy tray, first of all. This will hold a SIM card just fine. Because this actually holds it with the contacts out. The thing with all the markings would be hidden by this, but the actual contacts would not. So, the SIM card slot on our ThinkPad T460S is certified real. However, this one, I'm not so sure about. The one for our Latitude, because if you can see, this is raised. A SIM card won't seat into that, I don't think, unless this were to be ground down. So it's very possible that this is a dummy slot. Why you would be including a dummy slot that can't be used in a machine that very obviously has the ability to have a wireless WAN adapter added is beyond me. But it would seem that if you just want to stick a wireless WAN card in this, that you would also have to replace or modify the SIM card tray. Nothing on the back because this is very modern. And on this side, we have our barrel jack, a USB-C port, which it would appear is Thunderbolt, probably 3, a full-size HDMI, and another USB 3.0 port. No 2.0 to be found. Now, another test that I did in the last video is, will the USB-C port accept power? And it just so happens that I have a 100 watt USB-C charger right here. Let's just get the laptop a little closer to it, because this is actually attached to my nightstand, and we can plug this in, and you will see that our charging light lights up, and our laptop is accepting a charge from the USB-C port. Wonderful! Yet another feature ASUS lacks. So, if you want to go out with your tablet and maybe a game console and an Android phone, you only have to bring one charger. Because obviously, you're not going to want to bring something like that big 100 watt brick. But, I'm making a mess. Jesus Christ. I have here a brick that you would absolutely want to just bring with you with just a nice thick USB-C cable to power everything in your bag. This can be purchased at Walmart, of all places, for, I think this was like $40 with a cable, probably less. And this is a 67 watt GAN charger. So this is USB-C power delivery. You just got a USB-C port, and it's 67 watts. And if you just put this next to the original power brick, you'll see why it's such a big deal. That's tiny. This is a lovely little product that, I mean, it doesn't really... It's a power brick, so I can't really make its own video for it, but it's wonderful. I go to conventions sometimes, and just being able to toss this, a USB-C cable, a laptop, my Switch, and my tablet, and my phone all into one bag and only need one charger is a fucking godsend, especially when, yeah, just for events like that where I'm going to a convention and I'm staying at a convention center all fucking day. So, this laptop is amazing. And if you're willing to buy used, then there is absolutely zero fucking reason. Okay, aside from one, now that I think about it. Because this is fanless, and this isn't. But unless you need something that is completely fucking silent, or doesn't disturb air in any way, there is no reason you should be buying something like that ASUS over this, unless you are chronically terrified of eBay, which really you shouldn't be. I have only been ripped off on eBay once, and it was because I didn't know how to go through the correct channels to get my money back. eBay is a very buyer-friendly website. As a seller, it can be a nightmare, but as a buyer, your risks of being scammed if you actually vet the sellers you buy from are incredibly low. Just look at the feedback, make sure the seller is been made in the last 2 years, and that they have reviews, good reviews, as a seller for the type of product that you are buying. If they are suddenly selling laptops by the boatload and they only have reviews for like erasers, yeah, steer clear. But if they have reviews as a seller selling laptops, even if some of them aren't great, as long as the majority are good and of the product that you are buying, or at least of similar price range, go nuts, because you will get a wonderful computer. I absolutely adore this laptop, and the only reason that it hasn't taken over as my bedside laptop as well is because the backlight doesn't turn off when you turn the brightness all the way down, which when you're trying to sleep while having some kind of media playing in the background, which as an autistic person I need, having the backlight on can actually keep you up at night, which is the only reason this isn't my bedside. So, yeah. I've been seeing a lot of people commenting on my last video being like, "Hey, I do this. Would this be a good laptop for me?" And the answer is really, maybe, but do yourself a favor. Get something like this. It's a lot better.